She didn't chase fame, fame chased her. One small opportunity became a spotlight she couldn't escape. Overnight, her face was everywhere, her name everywhere, her voice everywhere. People celebrated the rise, but nobody asked how fast it happened. Before she understood the rules, the industry already controlled her time, her image, and her story. She didn't chase fame, fame chased her. One small opportunity became a spotlight she couldn't escape. Overnight, her face was everywhere, her name everywhere, her voice everywhere. People celebrated the rise, but nobody asked how fast it happened. Before she understood the rules, the industry already controlled her time, her image, and her story. At first, it felt like magic. Applause sounded like love. Attention felt like proof. Every performance made her feel chosen. But praise quickly turned into pressure. Every smile had to be perfect. Every moment had to be public. She wasn't only performing on stage anymore. She was performing in interviews, photos, even silence, because silence became a headline. Her life turned into a schedule written by strangers. Where to go, what to wear, what to say, even what to post. Decisions stopped feeling like choices and started feeling like instructions. The dream she imagined as freedom slowly transformed into something heavy. The more famous she became, the smaller her world felt, like walls were closing in. Privacy vanished without permission. Cameras followed her everywhere: cars, hotels, sidewalks, even quiet moments. Her phone never stopped buzzing. Praise, hate, rumors, demands. She learned to read comments without reacting, but the words still followed her into the night. The world acted like it owned her. The scariest part was realizing she couldn't prove them wrong. Privacy vanished without permission. Cameras followed her everywhere: cars, hotels, sidewalks, even quiet moments. Her phone never stopped buzzing. Praise, hate, rumors, demands. She learned to read comments without reacting, but the words still followed her into the night. The world acted like it owned her. The scariest part was realizing she couldn't prove them wrong. Rest became rare. Sleep became shallow. Mornings began with exhaustion before the day even started. Airports, rehearsals, dressing rooms blurred into one endless loop. Her body kept moving while her mind fell behind. She forgot what calm felt like. Eventually, she forgot what it felt like to be alone without feeling watched. The mirror stopped being friendly. Makeup covered tired eyes, but it couldn't cover confusion. The image the world loved felt distant from who she really was. She started wondering when she stopped being a person and became a product. Everyone talked about her like a brand, like a headline, like a character. The real her sat quietly underneath, unheard. Awards came, but satisfaction never stayed. Each achievement demanded another. Success had no finish line, only expectations moving further away. She smiled during celebrations while thinking, "Is this it?" The world called her lucky. She felt trapped. The dream didn't break because it failed. It broke because it succeeded too fast, without giving her time to grow safely. The pressure wasn't loud, it was constant. A silent weight that never lifted. Saying no felt dangerous. Slowing down felt like betrayal. She told herself she could handle it, because that's what strong people do. But burnout doesn't arrive suddenly. It builds slowly, disguised as discipline. And by the time she noticed the damage, she was already running on empty. One night, something changed. Not outside, but inside. She realized she hadn't felt joy in months. Not sadness either. Just numbness. The kind of numbness that makes you forget what happiness feels like. That scared her more than stress ever did. Because pain at least proves you're alive. Numbness feels like disappearing while the world keeps clapping. She tried to fix it by working harder. More rehearsals. More recording. More appearances. She thought effort would solve the problem. Instead, it drained what little energy remained. Creativity turned mechanical. Songs felt empty. The spark that once guided her felt buried under deadlines and expectations. She began to fear the studio because it reminded her of who she used to be. Stepping back felt like falling. The world doesn't reward pauses. It punishes them, but her body demanded one. Her mind needed space. Fear followed every quiet moment, whispering that she was losing everything. Yet she slowed down anyway. Because the truth was simple. She could lose the spotlight and survive. But if she lost herself, nothing else would matter. Stepping back felt like falling. The world doesn't reward pauses. It punishes them, but her body demanded one. Her mind needed space. Fear followed every quiet moment, whispering that she was losing everything. Yet she slowed down anyway. Because the truth was simple. She could lose the spotlight and survive. But if she lost herself, nothing else would matter. Away from crowds, silence felt uncomfortable at first. Without schedules, cameras, and constant noise, she faced her own thoughts. They felt loud, messy, overwhelming. But slowly, the chaos softened. Silence stopped being threatening. It started becoming honest. For the first time in years, she could hear her own voice again, not singing, not performing, just speaking to herself. She remembered why she loved music, not for charts, not for applause, but for expression, for connection, for truth. That memory didn't heal everything instantly, but it gave her direction. She began writing again, not for an audience, but for herself. And that simple shift felt like opening a window in a room that had been locked for years. Healing wasn't dramatic, no instant clarity, no movie-style breakthrough, just small changes, longer breaths, shorter days, better boundaries, saying no without guilt, choosing rest without explaining. It was slow and frustrating, but it was real. Little by little, control returned. Not the control the industry wanted, but the control that comes from respecting your own limits. She stopped performing for approval and started creating for peace. The difference was subtle but powerful. Confidence returned quietly, not loudly. The kind built on self-respect, not applause. She learned that being strong doesn't mean never breaking. Being strong means rebuilding without letting the world rush you back into the same cage that hurt you before. The world noticed her absence. Rumors replaced certainty. People guessed, judged, and invented stories. But for once, public opinion didn't guide her next move. She was learning to listen inward instead of outward. That alone was revolutionary. Fame teaches you to chase noise. Healing teaches you to value silence, and silence is where real strength grows. When she finally returned, it was different. No rush, no desperation, no need to prove she was still worthy. She moved at her own pace. That alone changed everything. The spotlight felt softer, or maybe she finally learned where to stand within it. She wasn't trying to be perfect anymore. She was trying to be present. And presence became a kind of freedom. She understood the truth now. Success without boundaries becomes a prison. Freedom requires limits. Protecting yourself isn't weakness, it's survival. She began choosing what she shared and what she kept private. She began treating her time like it mattered. Slowly, the machine that once controlled her started losing its power over her mind. Applause still came, but it no longer decided her worth. She did. The world still watched, but she stopped living for approval. She stopped apologizing for needing rest. She stopped explaining her boundaries. That was the moment she realized the strongest version of her wasn't the one under the brightest lights. It was the one who could walk away and still feel whole. She looked back at her early fame and finally saw it clearly. The signs were always there. Control disguised as protection. Pressure disguised as opportunity. People told her it was normal. They said it was the price of being a star. But she knew better now, because no dream is worth your mental health. No success is worth losing your identity. Her story wasn't about losing fame. It was about reclaiming control. Not every battle is visible. Some are fought quietly, away from cameras, away from crowds. The hardest part wasn't public pressure. The hardest part was rebuilding trust with herself, trusting her instincts again, trusting her feelings again, trusting that her voice mattered even when nobody was clapping. She started living small moments again, coffee alone, a walk without security, writing lyrics without deadlines. These things looked ordinary, but for her they were powerful. Ordinary life was what fame stole first. Getting it back felt like recovering something priceless. The world still wanted the star, but she was learning to love the human behind the image. Some people didn't like the new her. They preferred the version that was easy to control. They preferred the version that never said no, but she didn't exist to be convenient. She existed to be alive. She learned that disappointing others is sometimes the cost of protecting yourself. And for the first time, she accepted that cost without fear. The industry still tried to pull her back into old patterns. More appearances, more headlines, more pressure. But she recognized the trap now. She had lived inside it. She refused to return without boundaries. This time, she negotiated her life like it mattered. Because she finally understood, if you don't protect your peace, nobody else will do it for you. The industry still tried to pull her back into old patterns. More appearances, more headlines, more pressure. But she recognized the trap now. She had lived inside it. She refused to return without boundaries. This time, she negotiated her life like it mattered. Because she finally understood, if you don't protect your peace, nobody else will do it for you. She realized something heartbreaking but freeing. The world will always want more content, more access, more of your private pain, but you don't have to give it. You can choose what stays yours. You can choose what remains sacred. That choice is where freedom begins. Not in fame, not in money, not in applause. Freedom begins in self-respect. In the end, her story wasn't a tragedy. It was a warning. A reminder that success can be beautiful and brutal at the same time, that the spotlight can warm you and burn you. She didn't stop being a star. She simply stopped being a prisoner. She chose peace over perfection, and that choice saved her in a way no award ever could.
I feel so trapped into this life.